All right, y'all, there's a lot of property management softwares out there. It gets very confusing for newer hosts and more developed hosts alike. So here's the 4 necessary property management softwares you should be using if you want to increase your results on Airbnb. Okay, y'all, the first necessary property management software is a pricing software. It's called Pricelabs. So Pricelabs, it basically utilizes dynamic pricing, right? Which I'll make a separate video on, but basically dynamic pricing is just a pricing strategy where the price adapts to the change in market conditions, right? So for an example, you see this with airline tickets a lot of time, right? So when you go to book a flight, let's say on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, historically people are not looking on a Tuesday, a Monday, Tuesday to book a flight, for really far away, right? So it'll be lower. But when you start getting to the weekend, people are planning trips, people are more likely to go, they have the free time, they're off from work, they're daydreaming, they want to get a flight, the prices increase, right? So that's a very basic idea of dynamic pricing, and it's also can be utilized here, which in short-term rentals. For example, right? So say your short-term rental, your average price is $100 a night, right? Basically, if 2 days from now you still don't have a booking, you shouldn't be priced at $100, right? Because essentially you've been sitting on the market for however long at this price point and no one's booking it, right? So to incentivize someone to book it and not make $0, you'll have to cut away at that price, right? And the closer you get to the day, the lower your pricing should be. The same thing goes for the other extreme, right? For larger groups, people are willing to pay a premium for that security, right? Like for larger trips, maybe things like Disney, stuff like that, you're going with 10 people, your family, right? You want that peace of mind. It's something that you are allocating a lot of money and time and thought towards, so you're willing to pay a premium to book something 3-4 months in advance, right? So it works on both extremes. That's the basics of it. Pricelabs is very, very good. It integrates well with the other softwares that I have on this list. And if you just were to sign up for this and put this and not know a single thing about the algorithm and all these other things and all the little tweaks you can make, softwares like this, they always advertise something like 25% increase, which is just an arbitrary number I'm making up. But utilizing dynamic pricing will increase your revenue just by using it in any case, right? Because it'll account for the differences in time and the things I was talking about previously. Okay, and the second really important one I use a lot, especially when I'm making new listings, listing creation, and testing things, testing markets, amenities, all this kind of stuff, is Rankbreeze. So basically, Rankbreeze is going to take an incognito browser. It's going to search for your listing within Airbnb search engine, and it's going to see where you're ranked. First page, second page, third page, 12th page sometimes, compared to other listings. And it'll even show you the other listings that are ranking above you. And it's very insightful. It just gives you a lot of really good information. It's a very easy way to test your market and to get yourself to that number 1 page more often than not. So a very useful tool that I use a lot for when I'm making listings, and I use it to make sure my listings are on the first page, second page on average. Okay, and the third property management software you should be using is a cleaning software. It's called Turno, right? It was previously called AIRBNB, I believe. I recently started using it. I've had a really good experience with it. You'll find as new hosts, especially when you're trying to facilitate cleaning and stuff like that, you might reach out typically for people through Yelp or on Google search, stuff like that. But I find that a lot of time they're commercial cleaners. They do it more, their scope of work is much larger, right? They do everything from commercial cleans to like one-time house cleans, or they're cleaning out frat houses, stuff like that. Turno is specifically made for short-term renting, right? So all these people are very proficient. They're very used to the preferences of short-term rentals, of short-term renters, that is. It's more of like that hotel standard, right? Like you just expect a certain level of cleanliness and you expect things to be a specific way. And I find that Turno, since they're made for short-term rental operators, their cleaners do a much better job. And as an added bonus, they also have really cool features within the platform, right? So basically, Turno will integrate with your calendar on Airbnb, right? So the second you get a booking, it'll populate in Turnover and it'll make a project for your cleaner. And then your cleaner that you've picked, they will accept or deny. They're going to accept the project. And then boom, just like that, they have the information they need. They have the time. They have the guests. They have all the information they need to get that done. But it also has really cool features where you could put pictures, right? So especially if you're managing something from afar, or you just want to make sure things are done a certain way, or you just want to whatever, they'll take pictures typically, and you'll have that for reference. You also have them when guest issues come up, or if some people try to take advantage of you, or you just have something as tangible evidence for the extremes, right? It also has things that you could add, like cleaning checklists if you're very specific about the things you want. So overall, just a really good platform. Even the selection of cleaners, right? You get to make a post like, hey, I have a 3-bedroom 2-bath property here in Gainesville. It's this many square feet. I need a cleaner, right? So all the cleaners on the platform that are able to do that work, they will bid for that project. So you actually get a wider range of people, and you get to pick the best bid or something that works for you. So it's really good. I really enjoy it a lot, and I think it's necessary software that works very well, make your life very easy. Okay, and the fourth and final property management software that I also recently started using that I think is very good is Hospitable, right? So Hospitable integrates with Pricelabs and Turno, right, very easily. This is really good for larger listings. I think I use it for a property that I'm managing in Kissimmee, Florida, just because you're able to post across multiple channels within the platform, right? So Hospitable, you could basically have a listing on Airbnb, you could have the same listing on Vrbo, you could have the same listing on Booking.com. I think you could also have it on something called Agoda, I think it's called. I'm not really too sure. But this is just good just if you want to, if you're really trying to get to that top 1%, right? Like you just want to be doing the most you possibly can. Hospitable is a really good tool. You'll be able to list across multiple platforms, and it'll all be condensed into the one property management software that's Hospitable. And it has a lot of really cool functionality where you could manipulate, like, for example, so Airbnb tends to be a platform where there's a lot of short-term guests. People tend to stay lesser length of stays, that is. So people, often the average price is less, right? But Vrbo, they advertise that their customers pay a premium, right? I'm not really too sure if that's true or not. From what I've seen, or from what I understand, it seems to be correct. But within the platform, you could, for example, manipulate that and say, hey, if my price is $100 on AIRBNB, I want to put a 15% premium on Vrbo. So it'll naturally change those prices to $115, right? Also works well at Pricelabs, so that's not really an issue either. So really, really good software, really has a lot of really good features. Another really useful thing that I find with Hospitable is that you can do automated guest messaging, right? So they have a lot of different options of the automatic messaging that you can do. I just am using 4 for right now. There's one that will send a message when people first make a reservation. There's one 24 hours before for like check-in information. There's one for the first night to make sure that things are going well, and then like one day before their checkout, they'll send an automated message. So you could just manipulate that, make it very generic for each property or for the property that you're using, and it works very, very well. It just makes life a little easier. It does get a little bit annoying if maybe have. Sometimes there could be overlap, right? Like I could have already texted someone for a new reservation, but my automated messaging sent as well, so it's kind of, it just looks a little weird. But overall, it works very well. It's a really big time saver, and the functionality is there. Integrates well with other softwares on this list, and if you're just looking for all this stuff to just condense to one platform, this is definitely the thing for you. Yeah, and that's my list. Those 4 property management softwares work really well. They work really well together, and all the results that I've had have been through using them. So even if you were to use one of them, I would recommend doing just Pricelabs for dynamic pricing. If you have one listing, you're not really looking to get super involved. Pricelabs and Rankbreeze, definitely my top 2. Yeah, and I have all this information in a short-term rental guide that I've created. It's on my website. It's just a free guide. I just condensed information for newer hosts just to make their lives a little easier, just give them a quick start guide. So yeah, if you want that, I'll just leave the link down there. Feel free to download it just to give you a really good idea of what you'll need to get started. But yeah, besides that, if you watch this long, thanks for watching, and I hope this is useful for you. And if you've had success with this, just let me know, as I want to make sure I know what the hell I'm talking about. So thanks, y'all.